So this is, I was going to do a video, but I just didn't want to do that today. But I wanted to share this because it's personal experience, but I know that it's a lot of what others are experiencing one way or another. And it's almost like I feel like I'm on the ground, if you like, still in the system that I know is, and have learned is corrupt and controlled and contrived, and I have awareness of the consciousness shift happening, and these systems are collapsing and breaking down and crumbling. However, we're still, whatever our awareness is of what's really happening. For me personally, I'm still on the ground, if you like, and moving through my own, personal development, personal circumstances, with whatever is coming up for me at the time. And that's how I now do things and learn. I see the opportunity in everything, and how it that life is now happening for me and not to me. Sometimes I don't understand it and I have resistance to it, because it's like I don't want to be in this position. I don't want to be, because I know that the shift that is happening. I find it difficult sometimes. But that's the things. Well, for all of us, we all have difficulties and things that we need to overcome. We all have these things that come up within us, these, that bring up fears or insecurities. And what I've learned is these experiences are to allow me to step into my power and to recognize where I haven't been, to recognize where I've given my power away, to recognise where I've been the victim, to recognise where I've been repeating cycles and patterns, so that I can do things in a different way, and then share my experience with others. Because when we do that, it helps each other, and when we don't feel so alone. So the personal circumstances that I wanted to share here is that since before March 2020, when all of the measures were put in place for what has been happening, where I see that this needed to happen, it needed to be something that affected the whole planet, because that's how everything is aligned with the consciousness shift. And there's other videos of mine that you can go back, and there's so many people, amazing teachers, leaders, pioneers, who are, showing and sharing their own experience and ways to come into alignment with your vibration and release trauma and all of that. So there's lots out there, lots of amazing people helping and sharing their experience and wisdom and knowledge to help others, to serve for the benefit of all. And so that's why I'm recording this, because my personal experience, so I do all of that, and I share and I help with traumas, and I help people realise and recognise for themselves that there is opportunity in everything, and it is about where it's about the consciousness shift. We can see what it means for us and where the opportunities are for us to remember who we are and where we've given our power away, or where we've lived our life in fear, or, in depression, whatever it is, to remember who we are. So some of you may know and have followed the because on the grassroots level, let's say, on the human level, with everything that has happened, there's several things that I have been involved in. And again, it's all been from a point of service and of helping and of doing what needs to be done, the next right thing at the time. So in March 2020, when the measures were taken for lockdowns and all of that, I was also learning. I'd just started learning before that about common law. And I was already teaching about ascension and already helping people, in the way of, I had a business called Future Positive Life, and was trying to meld a couple of things within the corporate world and the things around my family, but also with health and well-being, of helping people with their health and well-being. And that's something that I've been doing for years now. And in the change and flow of circumstances, because this is the other thing, is moving with the flow of, releasing resistance and moving with the flow of what is in front of you, in front of me, to do what is the next right thing. And rather than seeing it, being a victim of it, and seeing and being resistant to it, it's releasing the resistance and judgments and doing the next right thing, and keep moving forward, the next right thing, whatever's in front of you. So March 2020, ended up running groups on Facebook. It just so happened that I made a comment. I was invited to this group. It was a local group that had been set up by a local lady where I live, to offer some support. And she thought it was going to be a very, a nice little intimate group, with a few people that they could communicate with each other and maybe get help where it was needed. I was invited to this group, and very quickly it grew over the period of a few days. Everybody just started joining this group. Everybody local started joining this group. And within that, when I first joined, I could see that it was growing very fast. And so I said, I can see this is going fast. Do you want some help with the setup of the group? Because having done that, for my work, knew how groups worked on Facebook, and offered help. She said, yes, please, I'm drowning. Basically, I ended up linking up with several other local people, some of who knew each other already or worked together at county council. Some that, so they knew each other. I didn't know any of these people, but we came together and we did what needed to be done at the time, which was what we ended up having to do. There were so many thousands of people coming into this main group that we set up subgroups for each different area where I live, and then we set up subgroups to that for those that were the admins of those groups. And then there were on the ground, it was enabling people to communicate with each other to get help for those that needed shopping, that they were isolating and doing all of those things that those measures that were taken in March, or we were told that were happening by our government. It was a trauma response that we offered there. I was also recording meditations and guidance and continuing to do the work that I've been doing all along, and also continuing to learn about common law and seeing I was having personal private messages from people who were in panic and anxiety, people who had had to close down their businesses, had to go on to universal credits or income support or whatever it was, to just have some sort of income. I was also one of those people at that time. So whereby I didn't stop working. In fact, my workload increased because all of the skills and support that I was able to offer, it just happened. I just went with it. I was working usually, the group of us that were sorting things out were, it ended up, I think it was 40,000 people that ended up in this group, but it certainly grew to a few thousand. I ended up going on the local news, and because it grew exponentially in a really short time, and it was a beautiful coming together of everyone who just wanted to help each other. And that I'm sure you remember for yourself in that first, certainly in the UK, in that first lockdown period, everyone came together and just wanted to help each other and support each other. We're all in this together. We were all on our doorsteps clapping the NHS. We were all doing all of that stuff. It was supportive and loving. It was togetherness. But at the same time, everybody took action. Everybody did what they needed to do. They came together to get things done, to do what was needed. And we all created those spaces and that connection and support for people, where our local council or the government or any other body, let's say, put anything into place for our communities. And we did that, and it even got to a point of the local councillors coming to us, the local charitable organisations coming to us. How have you done that? How have you set that up? How can we help? And there were teams of people on the ground who were all coming together to support those that were unable to just getting the help on the ground. And it was an amazing thing that we did. And it was an amazing thing that everybody came together to do, to help and support each other whilst going through their own things. So, and then with all of the shifts and changes, but by October of 2020, was it October? No, it was December 2020, because I still was working, I had my wellbeing groups, I was doing hypnotherapy, I was and all of it was voluntary, because it needed to be, because everyone needed help and support in some way, and so I was just continue to do what I do, but was offering quite a lot for free, because it was needed, because it was the things that I do and I offer was helping and supporting people. The skills that I'd learned in building my own business and creating my own Facebook community and groups and all of that was able to help, thousands of people, and support and connect people. And it was the right thing to do. And it wasn't just me, it was, everyone that was part of that. It was our community, and we came together and created something. And so, I continued with my work. I was building my YouTube channel and doing videos on there, and made my wellbeing community, and all of that. And in December, there was also, obviously everybody's had their reactions to everything that was going on, and there started to be a bit of dissent in the ranks of people not doing what the government were telling us that we needed to do, and there were people who were saying that actually some of this is unnecessary, and then the control measures started coming in, whereas we'd all pulled together because of the care and love and support we had for each other and our communities and our towns and our places, because I know it wasn't just in our area that this happened, it happened across the world. Then the control measures started to come in, then the fear programming was hyped up and moved through, and there were differing opinions and judgments and all of that started happening. And so despite all of that good work that I was continuing to do, and the positive effect that was having for people, in December 2020, my Facebook profile was deactivated, without any warnings or knowledge, nothing. I hadn't even had just a post that had been, stopped or anything. I'd had people comment on the things that I was sharing that didn't agree, but nothing that I did, said, shared caused any harm or damage to anyone else. I met others, as I always do, with compassion and care and support. And so, my profile was deactivated, which I'd had for 13 years, which had all of my business, all of my links, all of those groups that I was an admin for, that had set up, that had, on last look, I think it was about 40,000 people. We had about 30 other subgroups, and I'd created all of these groups for the admins and everything. All gone. All of my connections gone. All of my business gone. My well-being groups, all of my work, all of my photographs, my connections to my children, and people, that I'd gone to school with, all of that just completely gone. And when I tried to get it back, or, tried to appeal it, because you can do that, it was, you can't have it back because you've severely violated community standards. So I can guess what that's about, because actually what I've come to learn with the control measures that have been in place, and with the things that I've learned about common law, is that all of these measures are unlawful. All of these measures are about control and manipulation and coercion and fear of keeping, because of the consciousness shift, because those that have been in control for all of these years, and it's a really long time when you start learning and looking back, they know how powerful we are, and they are trying their absolute utmost to keep us controlled and repressed. And so that, and this is how it looks in our physical reality, because it is breaking down, but they're grasping at straws and, trying absolutely everything to maintain, keep hold of this control, because they don't want us to take our power back, to expand into the truth of who we really are, to remember how powerful and magnificent and amazing we really are. They don't want us to realise that how our bodies can heal themselves, and how they actually know how to do this shift in consciousness, and that it's about the human experience. They don't want us to know that. They want us to stay in the boxes, feared and controlled and ill, diseased for the control and power of basically feeding off our energy. So personally then, what that has looked like for me is the Facebook thing being deactivated. So rather than go into victim mode about that, and I did have feelings about it, and I've shared about that on my post, because at each stage this has brought up things for me where I've gone, this is not fair. But I've seen then the opportunity in that, because I'm a good person. We're all good people. And so what we're learning is to see, rather than be the victims of what's being done, is to see the opportunity for expansion and release, and to let go of what no longer serves us. So in that Facebook being stopped, deactivated, I had feelings of grief and loss, and oh my God, that took me so long to build, and but it opened up an opportunity, because with endings opens up a door for new beginnings. So that's what I did. Went with the flow. Okay, so what if I could do this and start a new venture, or do things in a different way, do things in a new way. And I found other platforms, Telegram and MeWe, and other places, and did some investigating. But also, all the while I'm still learning about common law, and I'm still doing my work, and I'm still, because of the circumstances as they've been, getting universal credits from the system. And so can you see the bonkersness of that? That I'm somewhat someone who is, have done all of that, was continuing to help and support people, and realising and recognising that the system is corrupt, and that what's being done to keep us repressed and controlled. But I'm still needing to claim money, just to keep a roof over my head. And again, because that's personal for me, it brings up those feelings of shame and embarrassment, because I don't want to be in those circumstances. I don't want to be, creaming off the state as it would be put down. But that's what it's been made to make us feel, that we're lower than, or because we're needing financial help, because it's been controlled, because it's in the system. I heard something the other day, I think it was in my chat with Noon, that was to do, that she said this system means I've forgotten what the blooming word is now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not nice, So I've been still needing that financial income, and continue to do my work. It might not look like I go to a job each day, but then most people have been working from home. I had to register with the government, with the universal credits, as unemployed, even though I was working voluntarily every day. And I know that I was in a much better position than many others, because, like I say, many others have not been able to trade. They've lost their businesses, they've lost work, staff. Some people, it's been that they've been able to reassess their life and think, actually, I quite like working from home, or I didn't want to be in that job anyway. I've heard of a lot of people saying that they've loved having more time with their family and being around their children. So all of the good that's come out of it, and like I said, all of these communities of people have come together to support and care for each other. Where the spanner in the works is when the government and those systems that have been implemented, have controlled us for all of these years, are inflicting more and more fear and measures that don't make sense and that are unnecessary. Because when you've done the work like I have, and those in the communities that I work within, you know that your body can heal. You know how it works, and you know that when you're in a constant state of fear and fight or flight, that you can get physical symptoms in your body of distress and dis-ease. So it's been unnecessary, and I can see, as can many others, the discord and dis-ease and polarity and judgments that are being created and perpetuated to keep us out of alignment with ourselves and each other. And this has broken up families, it's broken up relationships, it's keeping people being fearful of connecting with each other, which is what makes us even more powerful, by the way. It's when we connect with our own hearts and then co-create and collaborate with each other, come together. Hugs are important, touching is important, being together, singing, dancing, all of those things that we love to do, those pursuits that we all love to do that bring us joy, they're all of the things that they've been stopping us doing and trying to keep us embroiled in a system that has been created for just that. So, like I said, I've still been in that system because at the moment, that's where my journey has taken me. And so I've gone along and do the next right thing and the next right thing for me, releasing what that emotion or that attachment is for me in my personal circumstances, and moving forward with the next right thing. I've then also had the experience, and again I've done blogs and videos about this because I share as I learn. It's what I've always done. A lot of my story, if you like, my personal journey has I've come through, I've overcome a lot of fear, I've overcome a lot of things, so I've shared to then help others. And there's many others like me who are doing this right now, in one way or another, doing whatever it is that is coming to their experience and their role within all of this to do and support and share for the benefit of all. For the benefit of ourselves, but then to help and support others so that you can take your power back, you can step into your power and you can see what's going on here. And because together, when we come together, when we start doing that for ourselves, it empowers us. And then when we come together, that light that we shine grows and gets bigger and greater and bigger and greater. So, I had the Facebook thing happen and reassessed and realigned with the next right thing. Then I also around the same time received a parking ticket, but because I was learning about common law, started to work through a process of notices. I've had bailiffs visit my house, and all of that. But it's not because I'm the victim of that. It's because I've been letting the process play out to take my power back in that situation. I could have paid the parking ticket, but I recognised and realised that what they do is unlawful, that it's that these are organisations that have been set up unlawfully. No one owns the land. We are sovereign beings. And so that, in my personal experience, I have served notices. There's a way to do it. I've been learning as I go, and have recently just served fourth protocol, which is to make a counterclaim for damages against me for the disease and discourse that has been caused in my life as a result of someone of an unlawful corporation, private company, saying that I have made a contract with them and I haven't. So that's another thing, and there's information on my website and in my blogs and my videos that explain that a little bit more. And again, there are people doing, working with serving notices to councils and governments and corporations, and doing amazing, massive, big work for the benefit of all. And loads of information about that. This most recent occurrence now, like I say, always been working, still in the system with regards to getting money from Universal Credit. And the government is another corporation. So that's something that you can look up if you choose to. Unlawfully set up. The money that we get from Universal Credit or from income support or for whatever these places are, is ours anyway. And it's only the slightest portion of what we are actually worth and what we are actually due. But that's a thing that you can look into. And also, that for me, it brings up feelings of shame and embarrassment and all of that. So that's, personally, physically, with what I know about clearing these, and these being an opportunity to let myself feel those emotions and feel the crunchiness. Like I say, if it's crunchy within me, why is this embarrassing? Why is this shameful? Because I'm a good person with a good heart, and I help and support anyone and everyone who comes into my experience. I'm honest, just do good in the world, and I'm an example of the change I wish to see, which is another reason why I'm sharing this now, because when we're authentic and real about who we are and what is going on, it gives others permission to feel like they can do the same, because again, together we are, when we're real and authentic and truthful and honest about where we're at, then others feel like they can do. And this is how the ripples work of us stepping into our own power or taking our power back or realising where we've given it away. Because with these all are opportunities now for us to do just that. So, yes, so guilt, shame, embarrassment, or all of that stuff. And so when you are on, hang on a minute, I need a glug of tea. When you get these benefits, which is interesting word, hey, benefit, who's benefiting here, that's another thing that has been used. The language has all been changed and manipulated to become legalese in a lot of cases, to baffle us and all of that and keep us controlled. So it seems that only a certain unique person with all of this training can understand the language, when actually it is what it is. When it all boils down to it, it's actually all far, far more simple. The law of the land, common law, is simple. Natural law is simple. And it's what it comes into alignment with whatever feels right and aligned within us. That's the truth. That's your truth. That's my truth. These systems have been set up to control, manipulate, coerce, frighten, and keep us down, keep us from expanding into the amazing light beings that we are. So, current circumstances, when you go into these places, you have to go into the job centre, which I absolutely hate and had resistance to. You have to go into the job centre and have these meetings with those people who are working for the job centre, who are just doing their job, just like me, just like you listening. They're just doing a job. And there's a few people that I've met over the past few months, whether I've spoken to them on the phone because we don't go into the job centre when everything's in lockdown, or whether I've actually been into the job centre and had one of these meetings with these people. They've ended up working in that getting a job in the job centre, or working for the government, or going into something like that. Perhaps they might have gone and taken a job in a supermarket or something like that, which is all still important jobs to do, but it wouldn't have been what they've chosen for themselves. They've been forced into doing something or taking a job because they've had to close their company or their self-employed business, or their the company that they were working for has closed down or dissolved, or can't put them on furlough, or whatever. These are the things that were made to be that we're being supported through, actually weren't really supporting at all. So where we've got the opportunities for expansion and maybe to reassess things for ourselves, there's a lot of people that are still in an element of fear and have taken on jobs that they probably wouldn't really like to do had they the choice, but because they just want to pay their mortgage or their rent or their bills, so they've made choices and decisions out of a place of fear. And then those of us that are still either trying to doing our work, or that have been affected in a different way, go and see these other ones at the job centre. And most recently now, we were left alone for a little while because it was, obviously things were shifting and changing all of the time, as they still are. But now we're back open for business, so it's off to the job centre we tootle and sit and have a meeting with someone who says, how can we help you make your business work? It makes me laugh because I literally sit there and I'm like, have you been here? Have you been on this planet for with what's going on? Can you see? The bonkersness of it does just make me laugh sometimes, because I'm like, really? I haven't stopped working. It's just that I don't tick the boxes of what that should look like. And I've still needed the the help because you still want me to pay rent. And we still need to pay bills. Actually, all of these, again, companies, corporations are private companies and corporations. But again, because this is not common knowledge yet, I'm going with the flow of what this looks like for me right now. And perhaps, going in to just make people think in a little bit of a different way. I don't know. And it is opportunities for me to release, like I say, and to not be embarrassed and to not be ashamed, because that's not who I am. So you have to go in for these appointments, and it's basically, my experience has been, they don't know what to do with me because I have been working and I can prove that I've been working. I've set up another, I've changed my website from Facebook closing me down, which is another corporation company that has been set up for control and manipulation. Even though it's social media and you're supposed to be able to express what you want to express on there, it was my personal information. It was my community of family, friends, and those who were interested in who I was and what I had to say or share. But that has been controlled and manipulated and taken away from me by someone that I don't even know. Why would they do that? Anything that I was there, it's other people's choice if they want to follow or scroll on by or anything like that. I've not done anything to cause harm, to violate anyone, severely violate community standards. How have I done that? When I've done all that I can to serve for the benefit of all, in particularly in my community, in particularly in my personal life. And this is happening. This censorship and I can't think of another word for a minute, but basically the censorship control is happening to good people who are trying to help, support and share with others what they've learned of what actually is going on, so that and people are still watching the news and the media companies are more organisations that are being controlled by those that are still, or the now collapsing pyramid of the top, that 1%. So again, bigger picture wise, you can see what that is. And so for me, I know now that my ground level experience, my personal experience is the thing that is just part of my role of highlighting the bonkers. Because it's just bonkers. So into the job centre. They don't know what to do with me because I've been working and it's but I'm supposed to be unemployed to basically just get some money to help me live right now. And people's personal circumstances are shifting and changing and they need my help. They need the work that I do. I've even said to them at the job centre, I've got programs and things with the tools that I work with and the work that I do. I could go into the job centre and provide a service to you and your service users that will help them be empowered and release fear and all of that. I could go in and help them, but oh no, you're not allowed to do that because I'm in the system. They're not even allowed to go and look at my website or connect with me in a different way when I have these conversations with these people. Interesting, hey? So they didn't know what to do with me, and so basically I've been pushed from pillar to post of what they need to do to just tick their boxes. Really, that's all it is. Because they're just trying to do their job and, are still in a place of fear themselves because they just want to, they want, like everyone else, want all of this to be over and they want life to come back to some sort of normality. They want to pay their bills. They want to go on holiday. They want to be with their loved ones. And so they're just doing what they do. So it's no personal slur on any of those that I've come into contact with or those that work, in job centres. Yes, they're still in the system and all of that, but so am I. And it doesn't matter what awareness that we've got of what the consciousness shift is and seeing the opportunity in it all. At the moment where, that is collapsing, we can see it happening all around us. We can see everything that's shifting and changing, but we've still got these things to wind up, if you like, as to, we've all been in these systems for hundreds and thousands of years, and so it's got to collapse slowly so that the ripples out people can start recognizing and seeing where it is in their life, because it's only we can't control anything outside, we can't control other people, but what we can do is do what's right for us in our own life and see where we've been part of the system, when we're still part of the system, and being authentic and real and speaking your truth, and then realise where you've given your power away. So go into job centre, have these meetings, get pushed, and then they've put me on this work and health scheme, which is apparently nothing to do with the universal credits, but it's supposed to help me with my get back into work, basically. Again, interesting, hey? Because it's almost the thing of, why should universal credit be paying me? Again, just bonkers. Like, when you really start thinking about it, it's like, what? Really? Got to realise this has gone on for a while now. So, recent circumstances. Basically, I'm supposed to get my income from UC on a certain date each month. Because I've just been advised to go back as self-employed, the system says that that I have to be gainfully self-employed, which means that I should have a certain income of however much each month that the universal credits will then top up, because I'm being a good girl and bringing some money in. And having done that, because it's what I was advised to do, all the while I've been, creating and building and helping and supporting and, haven't got a massive income from what I'm doing just yet. I've got abundance and wealth in other ways, but not financial. And the opportunities are coming reeling in, which is amazing and beautiful and expansive, but it's not the old way. So I'm supposed to get this money on from them each month, and because now I have, for one, the the amount that I was getting is less than what they said the minimum income floor would be for self-employment, which basically cancels out anything so that I wouldn't get anything basically at the moment, the way things stand. They've made an appointment for me to go in to basically for them to decide whether I am gainfully self-employed, which at the moment for their tick boxes I am not. And when I'm supposed to now get my regular monthly payment, which again I said is less than what the minimum income floor is, I haven't been paid this month. So I'm sharing this, and I shared all of that in a really long-winded way of these have all been my personal experiences. And I've also I've been on the phone to a couple of people today who have also to do with the job centre and the work and health programme that I put on. These are all, nice people that I've spoken to, again, just doing their job. But they've also said, this doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't. How does it make sense? But for me, I recognise and realise that actually, perhaps that's going to make them start asking questions and realise that it doesn't make sense. How is this helpful, beneficial to me? It's not. And it's actually stopping them being able to do their job of feeling like they're helping and supporting me. And so I've then also what you have to do for your to get, you have to keep updates in this journal. And when you're looking for work, you have to say what you've been doing to look for work. When you are self-employed, you need to record your hours. When you are going through a transition like I am at the moment, they've made, you communicate, you do all of your communicating in this journal, and for the most part on the phone or in this journal with others. So I've now put up a message, because they didn't tell me that this payment wasn't going to be there. They said that it's now restricted until I have this appointment to see whether I'm gainfully self-employed, which isn't until next week. I have payments that come out of my bank and all of that I'm now in a default with. And I'm sharing this because I know that I'm not the only one that this is happening for. And I know that this is where people will freak out and be in fear and be in shame and embarrassment and feel like they've done something wrong or bad, or, that being penalised just for living, just for trying to make ends meet. Why would a helpful, supportive government stop an income that will affect my mental, emotional well-being and that of my family, put me into fear of not being able to pay my rent, where now then I'm perhaps going to get, warnings from my landlord? Why would this be the case? And this is the case because it's about control and fear and keeping us repressed. And so that's why I'm sharing this today. It's a bit of my own story and up to the date where I'm at now, because what is or the opportunity that it is for me is to come back to my heart, which is what I teach, and into alignment of where is the nugget in this for me? Where is the alignment in this for me? And I was given a nudge to share my story, to share what's happening. Because if it's happening for me, it's happening for hundreds and thousands of others. But we don't have to accept it anymore. We can say that this is wrong. I used my journal today for a bit of a different way. I put a note in my journal that will be seen by whoever the people who work within that system, to say, I've worked, and this is not acceptable, that you are stopping that, placing a stop on it, that and all of the ramifications of that for me, but with the awareness that this is not only happening to me, this is happening to hundreds of others. So that's why I'm sharing it today, because I've worked through what, like I say, the fear, the shame and embarrassment that's come up, and it comes up quicker now these days. It comes up and I allow myself to feel it, and then I go, right, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Take action. What's the next right thing? And so in this case, it was make a waffle on for however long I've waffled on for, and share my story, because as we share our personal stuff and we be authentic and real about who we are and what we're experiencing and what we're moving through, if we look at, take personal responsibility for how it feels for us and why perhaps, this is coming up for us now, there is an opportunity in it. We can release what no longer serves us, and we can move forward in a new way. So that's why I'm sharing that now. Because these are seemingly, all of these things are to do with the systems and the repression and the control and manipulation of what is actually happening here. And this is what's happened in my personal experience. I know, it also allowed me to come back to a place of trusting myself and, and trusting my journey. And this is a opening up for to do things in a new way, to take my power back, to stand in my sovereignty and truth, and for the benefit of me and for the benefit of all. Because what they do, it's not right and it's not fair. And, another person may perhaps have, because they were in fear or because they were stressed and worried, may have shouted at those. I've seen and been, and heard conversations where someone is so scared because they haven't got any money, or they, their personal circumstances have changed, that they're shouting at the other person on the phone. And there's nothing that they can do because they're in the system too. And they've got rules that they're supposed to follow. And to keep their job. But if somebody like me or like you, if you feel that you can do it in your life, can stand up and say, actually, thank you for doing your job, but can you see how bonkers this is? And whatever is aligned, I'm not telling you to stand up or do anything, you do whatever is aligned for you. I'm sharing this as an example of how I'm moving through it, but also to point out, to perhaps help others see that you're not alone. I'm sure you can probably identify some areas in your own life where you're feeling repressed, or perhaps you're still part of a system, or where you're feeling fearful of something. But all of these systems are collapsing and they are crumbling. And those of us that are on the ground, whether we've got awareness of, the consciousness shift and moving from 3D to 5D, this is what it looks like in our physical reality right now as a collective. This is what it looks like in our personal experience. And we can only do from our own perspective what feels right and aligned for us. But we can do it from a place of calm and from breathing into our heart space and recognizing, seeing what's coming up for us, why we may have created that, why it's happening for us, and see the opportunity to do things in a new and different way. To remember who we are, to not feel fearful of, not being able to pay this or not being able to do that. And can you see where all of that is creating and perpetuating the fear cycle of all of it, rather than, okay, breathe, allowing whatever is coming up to come up, see it, allow yourself to feel it, and then taking action of whatever the next right thing is for you to do. So that's where I'm at. And with the again, you can go back and see videos for the parking ticket thing and the bailiffs and all of that, because they actually came and clamped my car, and I worked through a process of notices. They came and took the clamp off my car. So this is, in my little world, these are just the things that I've been doing as they come up with the learning that I have about common law. See, there's a spiritual aspect. Everything is connected, but this is like I say, the physicality of what's going on and happening in our world right now, and where we take power back and be the example in our own life, in our own experience, that has ripples out in every direction. There is healing that occurs, there is empowerment that happens, there is light that is able to be shone in the dark places that have kept us in fear, repressed and controlled for so long. And when you start doing it in your own life for yourself, and loving yourself enough to say, no, this is wrong, or this doesn't feel right, and see the opportunity in it, that's when things start to shift and change. And so I'm sharing because I've worked through my own stuff. I'm not in a place of fear. I'm interested to see what happens now. And I did go into, those things did come up for me straight away. But because of what I've learned and because of what I've experienced and because of of working through the notices and learning about common law and seeing knowing my rights, standing in my sovereignty in that circumstance, in that situation, has now allowed me to be able to go work through whatever it is that's coming up for me and to go, okay, well, that's not right. So I'm going to be looking up how to, there's people who are actually, bringing HMRC to account, and the courts and all manner of things. There's people who are doing really great work, like I say. There's some people who are just doing it in their own personal life and experience, and there's others who are doing it on a bigger scale, let's say. The school systems, and there's people are standing up in their own power and sovereignty all over. And amazing, how amazing, hey, that we've all got this opportunity to do this right now, because we don't need to be in the world as we've been in it before. We are expansive, we are amazing, bright beings, creators, and we do love, we just want to love and be loved, and and share this, these amazing experiences, and be in joy and be happy, and just do what we want to do. And this is all opportunity for us to expand into that by releasing what no longer serves us and by standing in our sovereignty and truth and being who we are. That's all we need to do, is just be who we are, because we're all unique, individual, but at the same time we're all reflections of each other, and we're all amazing. So there's my hour-long share. I hope that it may be helpful, and just sending you huge love and loads of hugs for whatever you're experiencing and going through right now. And I know that you can, come back to your heart and breathe and what feels right for me. And if something feels off, that's because it usually is. It's not in alignment for you. Come back to your resonance and what feels good. And you don't have to be afraid. You can let go of any fears. You can let go of any guilt, shame, and be you. Be honest. You're not causing harm to anyone else. And shine your light, So, huge hugs before I waffle on anymore. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me and sharing this space. I hope it helps, and look forward to hearing your success stories and, of where you're feeling good about being you and expanding into your sovereignty and truth, because you're amazing. Lots of love.